I loved everything I was seeing, but I hated the effect it had on me. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to the Spoken Corner. It's officially summer, and how is your guys' FOMO doing? How's y'all's FOMO doing? Today, we are talking all things social media once again. And today, I want to talk about my going back onto Instagram. I am going to be very blunt here, and I am happy and proud to say, never have I ever, in those few weeks ever since I have activated this account again, have I actually tried to scroll through any of the pages, excessively looked at stories. It's just too weird for me, y'all. I can't do it. Because, like I said in the first Spoken Corner video on social media, I just cannot for the life of me get myself to look at what other people are doing. I just cannot do it. There's something inside of me that just rejects that as an idea. I just cannot do it. I hate how it makes me feel. It makes me feel completely disintegrated and disassociated with myself as a person. And I don't know, with my heart and soul, I don't know. It does something to me after I've lived so long without that. You notice so much more what happens with you once you do it again. I'm just going to speak for myself here. I'm very self-aware in that way, but I think anybody would be more aware of how they're feeling if they would go back after not being online for a long time. So today I want to talk about that because what happened was actually, in fact, just today, me being the iPad kid that I am, I went on my iPad because that's the only place where I downloaded Instagram. And for me, the reason was to be able to apartment hunt better and stuff like that. Like, for example, right now, you can't see this, but my camera is on top of moving boxes. So yes, that is my reality at the moment. So yeah, a lot of networking, as we discussed in the last Spoken Corner, goes on social media, which is good in truth, but it also is a reason why you can't really live life offline in this world anymore. I went on my iPad because I'm currently doing a social media detox, aka YouTube specifically, because although I had admitted to obviously living life offline, a few months ago I started scrolling on YouTube Shorts. I used to only watch YouTube videos if I consumed any sort of social media, and originally whenever I would start living off of social media, I was completely offline, in fact, until YouTube Shorts was launched. And the first months I was like, what is this? This is a bad algorithm. These are just weird videos. But that algorithm kind of improved. I'm not gonna lie, it's still not good. It's kind of shit. But it works. And I'm gonna openly admit it. Although I want to live life completely offline, and I do, when it comes to YouTube Shorts, I had developed this habit of nonetheless still scrolling because ain't nobody perfect. So I'm very honest and want to own up to that. Ain't nobody perfect. I'm not going to pretend and say, you guys, I'm living life offline. Like, I'm your role model. No, I'm your fellow human, and we're going to talk about this because nobody is perfect. And today I found myself being curious now that I'm on this social media cleanse again, or this YouTube Shorts cleanse actually. After 2-3 days, I was able to completely get rid of this tingly feeling where I was just like, I need to scroll and scroll. You just really want to do that motion. You're just addicted to doing that. At least I was. And whenever I needed to wait until commercial was over on Amazon Prime or I was watching TV, I always wanted to just scroll something. Isn't that awful? And I hated that. Because at some point, once you have a few minutes of free time, or, you maybe like me at the time don't have a certain schedule in your life, that can very easily turn from a habit into a routine, which is nothing I want to have in my life. And I know it's something normal that a lot of people do. I have friends that tell me, yo, Aliya, at night I have me time, and me time consists of just scrolling a little bit, like good night scrolling, and I'm like, okay, you do you. If you feel good about it, and it makes you feel good, go ahead. I'm not going to judge you for doing that. We're all different and have different things that we like to do, and yeah. So I found myself in a situation where I was on my iPad and I was like, I just feel like relaxing, winding down a little bit. I just need something to keep me occupied right now. And just today I had hit this point where I was able to just fight wanting to just have something to keep me occupied. I'd reached this point where I was able to just find myself be okay with not being preoccupied the whole time. We always need to have this constant stimulation, and we don't have any inner peace anymore in our everyday life. We don't have any presence, maybe even in the moment. So that's one of the main reasons and points in my life where I finally reached that point, whenever I would be completely off social media, where I found the quality and just the experience of being fully present in the moment, and also not having the feeling of having to be stimulated and occupied all the time, every single day in my moment in my life, that I enjoyed so much that I became addicted and obsessed with that. Because I just, we live in a time where the old world, technology, it's just, even saying technology, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's not technology, it's our world is technology. Our world is the internet in many ways. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it's so integrated into us as humans that we don't really know what a world without it is like anymore. And I think that is what essentially really, really, really scares me. And that's why I became so occupied and obsessed with having that presence in the moment and that skill. Imagine, it's so sad. It's become a skill to be able to not have to be stimulated by something all the time. That's our reality. That's what I think. You can think what you think, but that's what I think. I found myself in a situation where I was like, I just want to see what's up on Instagram. So I went on it. What I also want to go into is the reason why I have this approach to it. I'm 100% in or out kind of gal, but I'm not going to force myself and treat habit shaping into a strict kind of addiction that you need to get rid of. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to fight an urge that you have inside of you. Allow yourself to practice that urge, to act out on that urge without it having any bad backlash. Then you should, I think, act out on an urge, because we're talking habits here. We're not talking actual addictions. With actual addictions, you have to be super strict, and I'm not going to do that because it controls you. But habits don't control you. Habits are an addition, are an empowerment to your being and your practice. So if I have an urge to go and look at Instagram, then I might as well go and do it, because otherwise I will keep on thinking, oh, should I go back on it? Should I, you need to kind of be able to see an in-between of 100% in or out. And that's the thing, 100% in or out is not always good. In terms of habits, it's not sustainable, I'm actually realizing. So while I love being 100% in or out of something, it doesn't mean that there is some sort of in-between space. For example, I'm saying I'm living like 100% offline, meaning I don't consume anything that's online. However, that doesn't mean or entail that I do not have an Instagram account, or that I do not have a YouTube account or TikTok account. I have it. I have a TikTok account. I have a YouTube account. I have those because I like posting stuff on there, and I like to build and share something on there. My Instagram, that's been a question mark for me the last months. Now, I have a lot of pictures, travel pictures, for example, that I like sharing. So initially, I decided I want to use my Instagram for myself to put my travel pictures on there. Because when I got Instagram when I was 14, it was a thing that I would post mostly when I was traveling. So it's kind of a blog for myself. I don't really care about anybody. If someone sees it or comments on it, I, at the end of the day, usually turn off the like count and the comments, because what the heck? Like, it doesn't matter. And I don't want my page to be about that. So I like for it to be kind of like VSCO. You just see the pictures. I always liked that on VSCO. So for a long time, I only posted pictures on VSCO. So that's my way of being on Instagram, but still living offline. And my story of that moment goes back to this point. I was in that moment where I said, okay, go ahead, Aliya. Go ahead and open Instagram. Go ahead, let's see what it does to you. Let's see if you like just going on your explore page. So for the first time, I allowed myself to look at posts on the explore page because I was like, let's see what's going to happen. So I did. And I wasn't convinced. I loved everything I was seeing, but I hated the effect it had on me. I'll say it again. I loved everything I was seeing, but I hated the effect it had on me. Now you could say, okay, maybe that just stems from insecurity. While I think I'm not an insecure person, we all have things that we're insecure about. For example, seeing people live a life that we ourselves want to have. But essentially everything we're seeing online is also just a snippet of their actual life. Behind that is the scene, the background where they actually set up the camera. Like what I see here, for example, right now, you cannot see it. You cannot see that I looked at the camera so that I could make sure that you can see the candle, my cute little sheep here. Do you see? You can't? No. What effect did this have on me? I looked at a few posts. I was maybe on there for 2-3 minutes. That's all I could bear and could allow myself because it was kind of hypnotizing. It was so hypnotizing seeing posts of this German girl who was in a long-distance relationship with her Australian boyfriend and how she would be going back and forth and, sharing that whole story, how she would go to Copenhagen, a place I used to live, on a little vacation. And it was just so enticing seeing that and so fun. But at the same time, it didn't make me feel good, at all. It made me feel inspired. It made me more hungry to get to that point where I want to be in my own life. But that's only because I was able to just go back into myself, self-reflect. Why did you feel these negative emotions? And then develop it into something positive. Ambition and will and identifying what it is I actually want. We are jealous of everything that we see because we want to have it. Because we want to be that. So in that way, I don't really think I enjoy scrolling on social media. Point of this video being, social media is so heavily normal in our world, which we all know. But me having been not on it for a good year or more, there's so much I don't know. Doing social media is the most normal thing in this world. So it doesn't matter what talent you have, what exciting life you're living. Everybody can do the same as you are doing. So you need to find your way, for example, if you want to do social media. So let this be a little motivation of social media really is. Now, I'm not sure where that leaves you or your role in life on social media. I just can tell you my perspective of just what my life has been like without it and what it has been like kind of considering re-entering that world, but just not really finding any will for myself to do it because you guys, you people, we have this whole world, and it's just not possible that is the world to be in. On the other hand, in those few minutes, I've seen so many amazing little perspectives that have been shared and amazing worlds. Like there was this one woman, this girl, she was traveling to such interesting places that nobody would travel to, Afghanistan, for example, and sharing that journey for her as a woman, for her as a white woman also traveling there. But then you have that comment section where people are going insane. I saw so many different things in those few minutes. I saw posts about film, how meaningful a specific kind of hug can be, which sounds ridiculous, it doesn't make any sense right now, but if you would see it, it would make sense. That's the beauty of video as a medium. But am I the issue? Am I the issue for seeing it as either you're in the social media world, in the online world, or you're in the offline world? Because I know everybody's somewhere in the in-between, being online and then turning that off and then living in the offline world, our reality. But I just can't help but feel like that in-between is morphing into a space that is one, And I don't know what to do with that. Maybe I just feel like I'm not built for it. Do you feel like you're built for it? I guess that's a question for another time. For now, this has been my experience, experiencing what it's like, seeing what people put on there, but deciding eventually again, I just hate how it makes me feel, and I hate what power it can hold over you, over me. What influence, what strength, what hypnotizing power it has, grip. It has grip to it. And I like to be my own grip, I like to control, I like to pick myself. I don't want something picked for me. Anyways, what a nice chat. I will see you soon. There's no way. There's no flames enough. Praying that the Father sing for you. Can you tell me?